Hello, and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I would like to share with you more of the information I've received during my last BQH session. I will be reading from a transcript of the session, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'm speaking to my practitioner who's asking me questions I've prepared in advance of the session, unless she otherwise states so. And when I refer to me, in this particular case, I am speaking as a source, because this was a surprise that we have in this new session that was done on the 26th of October, because in all my previous sessions, and I've done 22 so far, I've always connected to the 25th dimension. So this time, source came in for a visit. So we're going to get started here, and here's Lorrayne. Okay, your recent communication has created another question within myself. Since this entire conversation has been elevated to the singularity, you just said many things that, I know we're talking on infinite levels of our sacred dream, meaning singularity, and on the story within the dream that we have created, meaning for the fun of it. However, in the past, quote unquote past, what is being received is that I need to process what has happened within the sacred dream. This has never made logical sense to me because I'm aware that I am the one that is creating everything. Why would I need to drag up my little story that I played with for a while and then decided it was boring? Why would that be necessary? Why would I not just move forward into another sacred dream, new earth? Why would I keep rehashing the old dream? Because it's an old dream, been there, done that. From the perspective of the singularity, that stuff doesn't matter. Me. It is not necessary, and you are not rehashing. From a focus perspective, you look at it, even as you yourself, Lorrayne, as a focus drop. You want to believe. You're telling yourself that you're rehashing, that things are the same, and yet you know extremely well that nothing is the same anymore. We are not in the past, assuming that the past is real. It isn't. We are not in the past. This is not the same planet it was before. While we're keeping the planet in play a little bit longer, everything has already changed. The information we have been receiving has opened up the dream. You're not the same. You do not have the same experience you had even 2 years ago. You're not the same person. You're not even the same drop, if you want to look at it that way, along the analogy we have used. There's nothing that is the same. You guys were just talking about these things this morning, about this Middle East crisis, whatever. It is fake. It is not real. Now, some people might experience it as being very real, but you know very well that you're not experiencing it, that it's not real. It was never real. You cannot experience the experience of another drop unless that is your experience that you bring in so you can feel it, you can go through it, whether you're physically going through it or not. You must still feel it. You must still feel somehow involved and now share in the experience. We are not saying you have to be in the Middle East to share that experience. You can absolutely share in that experience from wherever you are, wherever you're wanting to experience that, but you're not experiencing it. You're telling yourself, oh, but this is going on, but it isn't, because you see right away, your feelings have changed and you're like, something's wrong here. Something's wrong there. This video is weird. They're trying to pull in my heartstrings. They're trying to make me feel this way. You're not the same person you were. You might have judgments around that. You might tell yourself, oh, wow, am I being selfish? Am I being self-centered? Am I being heartless? Whatever judgment you have is your judgment. There's nothing wrong with it. But what is the truth of the matter is that you are different. Whether you think that's a good thing, a bad thing, or a neutral thing, you are not the same person. The information has percolated. You joke and say, oh, I wish we could forget. And Source was laughing. What are you going to forget? We are here to remember, not to forget anymore. What has happened, the reason we've had to take this down, the reason we are taking this down is because we have forgotten and we have become so stunted in our rules that it became so boring. Now it's time for remembering, because I don't want to be bored anymore. So we are not rehashing anything. Of course, the planet is still available. A lot of drops that I'm not focusing on anymore, we call them NPCs, are still running around. A lot of drops have gone already. Everybody's safe. My energy is everlasting. So what are we rehashing? We're rehashing nothing. When you think that you're rehashing things in your head, we call these repetitive thoughts. It's a program. You like to call it a program. Of course, there is no such thing. But to make it understandable, you like to think of it as, and we can think of it almost like a computer program that's running in the background so that there is continuity. So when you come back, everything looks similar. Now, we know that you create your reality every time you focus here. You recreate your reality because there is no reality, and it was chuckling. Even the NPCs are not truly real if you think about it. This planet is not truly real, but we said we made it real and concrete enough to where we can objectively, we believe it's objectively, say, oh yeah, you know, this material, this is real, this is concrete. Same as with our bodies and so on. So in that sense, we are saying, if you look at it and you assume these things are real, then of course there is a program running in the background that allows us to continue a certain way, even if you're going for a break to get some tea with somebody on a different planet. But at the same time, you're recreating this reality every time you are here. When I focus on this reality, I'm recreating it every time. And what I'm creating right now is this energy percolating, this information percolating. It's truly energy. We call it information, this energy, this consciousness percolating. And there's value in it because, again, it's what is allowing the game and all the games to change. And therefore, it's not quite time yet to take this down. And so that's why when I am in this focused form, I keep recreating the same things, which you're referring to saying we are rehashing. So we can say that there is the old and the new going on at the same time. There is some of what we consider to be the old still happening. But if you notice, and you do notice, and I do notice when I focus in Lorrayne, that nothing is like the old anymore, nothing. All of this is inconsequential. We are past the game we played here, the light, the dark, and all of that. The dark or the aspects of me that were playing this part of the game, they moved on, and I do not focus on these drops anymore. And he's obviously referring to the NPCs that are left behind, not on the actual, our brothers and sisters who are on other planets. And so I only focus on a few people, on a few drops here at this time. And so some of the things I let run, because again, it's not time to take this planet down yet. So I let it run on the same program, quote unquote. Again, we'll use this word for familiarity. I let it run on the same program as before because it doesn't matter. It's not really real. It's not really important. What is important is what we are doing, the work we do every day, the remembrance that I have, the awareness that I have of what is really going on in the background. This is why we are not done, because this is the only thing that matters. It's our understanding and our remembrance of this. Once this is locked in place, which it already is, of course, but once the resistance has stopped completely to this knowledge, which we said we are very close, it will be a moot point. This planet will not be necessary anymore. And then we can move on to the next fun experience. So we are not rehashing in that sense. We are just letting it run in some things because there is no point in creating anything new. Really, our biggest project right now is this consciousness, this awareness that we have, this remembrance that, oh, yeah, I am me. So I will say here, the next few questions are about animals, cats in particular. And it's funny because Lorrayne says, oh, another cat question, which is funny. But the reason I am fascinated by cats, the reason I even have cats in my life is because I am extremely fascinated by this absence of a veil. And I, of course, am curious about how we will be on the earth, how it feels to not have a veil, even in this reality. And so this is why I have a lot of cat questions, but obviously I wouldn't share them if they weren't relevant to what we're doing. It all works to bring in this awareness, how things really work and where our judgment lies and how we judge things here. And as you guys know, there is no criticism, no judgment on that at all. It's just how we play the game. Lorrayne. Okay, thank you. Next question on our list. Since our pets have no veil and come in to help us with our quote unquote missions, do they know what we're setting ourselves up for? Are they aware of our higher selves objectives in creating a certain experience? For example, were my cats consciously aware of the fact that I would have to leave my ex-husband to do this work even before I left him? Me. I enjoy my cat experience, my feline experience very much. And cats do not, as all animals, they do not impose on themselves. This one aspect of this experience does not impose on itself nearly as many rules as we do as humans do. And so cats, this is what we mean when we say that cats have no veil. So do they know what's going to happen? It almost sounds like they can predict the future. The energy changes at all times. However, do they know what the intention is? Do they know what the setup is? Yes, because the intention, there's always this momentum to the energy, how it's transforming. You can call it intention. We don't want to make it sound like intention is something that I centrally choose for every drop. It doesn't work that way. It's not that granular. The energy is the energy, and the momentum is the momentum of the energy, what the energy wants to create or transform itself into or change into at that particular moment. We call it intention at a much more granular level, but as you well know, there is free will. This is really what it is. The energy has free will. I let it, again, I want to be surprised. I don't control or micromanage all aspects of my creation. So when we say the intention, animals are aware of the momentum, and they're aware of the change in momentum when that happens. So Clea's cats would have known what was going on, what was brewing behind the scenes. And does it mean that it had to end up in a divorce? Not necessarily. It could have ended up in somebody's death, somebody's passing, right? With the same consequences for Clea or for the work she wanted to do. We can create anything. So the cats are aware of that. They cannot predict, as in they'll know that this is going to happen on this day, that kind of thing. Because again, they go with the flow because they are so attuned, because they have no veil. So yes and no. So are they aware of what they're getting themselves into, what is going on, even when we aren't, or we like to deny what we see and what we know? Yeah, they don't lie to themselves. And we don't, you already know by now, there is not any judgment in these words, in these terms that we use. This is what we do at aspect level because of our personality and because of our intention, in the sense of wanting to keep, we called it the veil in place, but really to keep the dream going. We have to tell ourselves certain things. This is why we have to lie to ourselves. We have to pretend. This is all pretension. There's nothing wrong with this. This is the name of the game. We're here to pretend. And so the cats, animals don't pretend. Now, do they play in this reality with us? Just the fact that they come in with certain bodies or into certain bodies, it makes it sound like the energy is inside a body. Obviously, that's not the case. But they come in and play and experience through certain focused manifestations. So they look like furry little bodies with a tail in this particular case. But it doesn't mean that they have to play by the rules of what we have set up for ourselves. So they don't. Again, they don't pretend. They know we're pretending. They don't lie to themselves. And so in that sense, they know exactly what the energy is in the background. That does not mean they can predict things, for the simple reason that even we cannot predict things. We can change. We said this many times as the 25th. We can change experience at any time because we are recreating reality continuously. Reality between what you might call 10 minutes from now and now could be completely different. We could find ourselves on a completely different planet if we decided to. That's not what we choose to do, not yet, but we will. And Source was laughing. So what does that mean? It just means that we create another reality because it's all imagination. We can turn the page in a second. Lorrayne, we're the one, the singular, that is the creator. And at any time we can change the game. Okay, next cat question. What do my cats think of the fact that my essence is gone all the time? Do they know, since they can tell when someone is an NPC? And do they act differently when I come and go? Like asking to be petted when I am gone, so we'll come back, or perhaps when my essence is here, as opposed to when it's gone. I used to think that my cats jump on the bed in the morning when they hear my breath pattern change, so they know that I'm waking up. But now I wonder if it's because they feel my essence coming back and they're coming to say hi. Truth is that I don't even know if I ever come back here anymore. This reality is lame. I don't blame myself for not wanting to be here. My NPC doesn't want to be here either. You can see there was a bit of darkness to this question, which is what it is. No judgment. Me. I do focus on Clea as I focus on you, Lorrayne, less and less. But I do focus on this reality, on a few of the bodies that are still here, because this is interesting to me. This perspective also from the body, from the level of the bodies, is also interesting to me. From the level of the individual human is interesting to me. Therefore, I do focus, and so I do come back. So this, to answer that part about, I don't even know if I'm ever here. I am here. I'm here right now. And the cats are extremely excited when I'm here. And yes, they normally do, even when I wake up or when they come and see me. I do come and check on things. And so yes, they normally do come when I'm back, which is, again, not very often, but certainly more often than you would imagine would happen, considering they were just in wait mode. But again, we think of wait mode as in we're stuck, right? That's the word we're using. We're stuck. Truth is, we're not stuck. We were stuck before, if you want to think about it this way. Right now, we are waiting, but we're not really stuck. We want to have this experience. This experience is unique. It might never be repeated again because we never do the same thing twice. And it certainly has never happened before. This is extremely interesting. Now, I understand that in my focus form, I might not enjoy it because when I am in a body, I forget and I'm left to deal with, well, not myself, especially when I absent myself, the body, the drop is left to deal with what we have termed the program. And the program here has been boring. So what makes us think that it would be less boring now? If anything, it's more boring because we're jumping at the bits and wanting to move on. The truth is, what is happening at a conscious level, that is the extremely exciting thing that's going on. And that is why it's worth staying a little bit longer for. Everything else, yes, it is boring. It's the same as before, and we clearly are done with it, or we will not be taking it down. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.